Hello and welcome to Monsoon 2012. I'm meteorologist Chuck George. A missing monsoon. Are summer storms slipping away? In the next half hour, we will examine whether our monsoon is changing. Has climate change or urban development changed our rainfall pattern? Behind me, the Chiricahua National Monument, a path of destruction as record wildfires rip through Arizona. Southern Arizona is still struggling to rise from the ashes. It's a deadly combination. Our desert heat and the missing monsoon.
Missing monsoon. Are summer storms slipping away? A special first alert report from the only team of scientists in Southern Arizona. Only on Tucson News Now. Your first alert for monsoon coverage with Chief Meteorologist Chuck George, Meteorologist Erin Pickering, and Meteorologist Erin Jordan on location from the University of Arizona's Biosphere 2.
Thanks for joining us here at Biosphere 2. This living laboratory is the perfect place to examine our relationship with the environment. Our monsoon plays a big part in the delicate balance. Join us as we take you on a journey behind the science of the monsoon. One area of Tucson drenched by rain in one day. The monsoon myth of 2011 and what it means for storms this year. Triggering the downpours, the natural and man-made causes that are keeping our skies clear.
Plus a rainwater mystery, nearly an entire civilization wiped out by drought. Will history repeat itself?
In-depth storm insight you'll only see right here with your First Alert team. And it all starts right now. Last year's monsoon was a record breaker in more ways than one. It was the 10th wettest monsoon on record, and we even saw the wettest September ever. We also broke the 5th wettest day of all time. But it wasn't that good of a monsoon for parts of southern Arizona. Nogales, for example, only picked up about 4.5 inches, which is less than half of what they normally receive during a monsoon.
After a slow start to the monsoon, the normally slow month of September changed everything. 7 straight days of measurable rainfall turned 2011 from a dry to a very wet season. The strongest storm hit on September 15th.
That event, which recorded almost 3 inches of rain, really put us over the top as far as monsoon precipitation totals, putting us into that 10th wettest monsoon category.
There was so much water, it flooded the south side.
Usually it rains really hard for a little bit and then it'll just stop, but it stopped for a while and all of a sudden there's a river.
The water rushed into homes and businesses, including this Jiffy Lube.
And this is what's left of it right now, oil absorbent sheets.
Water poured into the pit, which holds thousands of gallons of oil. Hazmat crews rushed in to contain the spill.
You know what, in my years I have never seen anything like this. You know, to have just a little area just flooded like that, it's pretty bad.
Even though what we saw was a historic rainfall, the numbers don't tell the whole story.
Some places actually had, like I said, below normal rainfall. Some places had above normal rainfall.
What it all means is that everything added up for a good monsoon on paper for Tucson. But overall, southern Arizona saw a fairly disappointing monsoon. And with a mild winter, we need the monsoon rains this year, now more than ever.
Stand above the clouds or get right in the middle of the clouds, wherever you want to go.
Marvin Landis is a scientific visualization specialist. Basically, he makes science come alive in this 3D environment.
But what they're hoping when they come in here is to be able to get up close to smaller portions of the data and see complex things that might be happening in very localized areas that they aren't seeing on their desktop.
Important for monsoon research because we all know the storms can be small but powerful, damaging homes one block over while your house stands untouched. This year, researchers from the Atmospheric Sciences Department gave Landis some new numbers to work with.
The new data sets that we're getting now from Atmospheric Sciences are on the order of 15 gigabytes worth of data.
That's over 30 times more information, all in an effort to take the virtual world into the real world of forecasting for a safer monsoon.
When our monsoon explodes into a swarm of storms, our news crews hit the streets in our fully equipped storm chasers, bringing you live local late-breaking coverage as it happens. Here at the Biosphere Beach, the waters are calm while they're doing research.
But a sudden rush, the risky waters you don't want to go to war with next.
Plus the urban heat island, why our sizzling cities are becoming the center of the storms. Those stories and more when the missing monsoon returns.
At Tucson News Now First Alert Special, are the summer storms slipping away?
Missing monsoon. Are summer storms slipping away?
Monsoon storms can be dangerous for all kinds of reasons. Microbursts can take off roofs and knock down trees, and when lightning strikes, it can be deadly. But the most dangerous part of monsoon storms are the floods. Thunderstorms can generate extremely heavy rain over a short period of time, and flooding can begin in a matter of minutes. The rushing water can pick up cars and wash people away. More deaths are caused on average by flash floods than any other thunderstorm-related element in the United States. And this coming monsoon, we could see more violent floods than ever before. That's because wildfires have scorched thousands of acres in southern Arizona, destroying the plants that help slow the rushing water.
In a normal situation, when it rains, you only get about 30% of the water hitting the ground running off. In a hydrophobic soil situation, you're seeing everything run off.
In burned out areas like this, the soil actually repels the water, so it only takes a little bit of rain to cause a flash flood event. Not to mention the mess. Burned soil and charred vegetation is carried away by the floodwaters, and people living downstream often end up with a sludgy mess to clean up. And the effects of the fires can be felt for years.
Until that vegetation comes up, there's nothing to help hold the water back.
When trying to find out how climate change might affect rainfall, a good first step is to look at a city and how it affects precipitation.
Urban area provides a very good setting actually to understand climate change. The tall buildings to slow down the wind. That's one effect.
When the wind moves into a city, the densest part of the city, it hits the buildings and then is forced up. That upward motion sometimes forms clouds and rain. However, that rain usually moves downwind, raining on the suburbs, but not on the inner city itself.
Pollutants from human activities in the urban area would affect the cloud's microphysics.
If you take away the effect of a city and the pollution that's created by the city, the air is cleaner and there are fewer particles in the air for water vapor to adhere to and for raindrops to form. So those raindrops get really big and they fall to the ground. Now, if you take into account the city and the pollution that's created in a city, there are millions more particles in the atmosphere, and all the water vapor in the air adheres to those and forms raindrops. The deal is those raindrops become very small. Some of them evaporate before hitting the ground, and that means less overall precipitation inside the city. Weather records over the decades and centuries have purposely omitted the influence of climate on cities themselves. The official measuring station for Tucson, for instance, is way out at the airport.
We forget 80% of our population in the United States live in urban areas.
Thanks to U of A scientists, we may now get a realistic representation of weather within a city.
They are U.S. Post Office vehicles delivering packages, mails everywhere. UPS, Federal Express, they have GPS already for each of those vehicles.
Genius! Mobile weather measuring sites all over the city. That would increase the knowledge scientists have about a city's environment, allowing them to track changes in city weather. And tracking weather changes within a city will help scientists understand how climate change may affect monsoon rainfall.
Viewer videos and pictures snapped across the state when the thunder begins to roll. Our See It, Snap It, Send It's capturing moments in time as the monsoon strikes, so we can see the storm through your eyes. Striking images pouring in. Join our team of meteorologists by posting your pictures and your videos straight to our website or email them to pics, that's PICS, at TucsonNewsNow.com. You can even upload from your phone with our Tucson News Now weather app.
As our summer storms are slipping away, our ecosystem is in danger. So where do we grow from here?
And steering the storms, how climate change can cause chain reactions. Plus, one of the most dangerous stretches of highway in the nation, sideswiped by blinding dust. The massive accident and the all-too-common phenomenon that caused it.
You're watching The Missing Monsoon, a Tucson News Now special report from your First Alert meteorologist.
Missing monsoon. Are summer storms slipping away?
The 21st century started off hot. In fact, the first 10 years was the toastiest on record for Tucson. Nature is actually responding. Proof can be found right here along the Finger Rock Trailhead in the Catalina Mountains.
We have documented approximately a quarter of the plant species that he's been keeping track of out there have shown an uphill trend in where they're being seen in flower.
Desert plants are moving up the mountain, trying to escape the heat. So how does this new hot make the Southwest drought even worse?
Warmer atmosphere can hold more water vapor, more moisture.
And that, in turn, can drive up the temperatures. You see, when the ground is wet after rainfall, it takes a lot longer for the air to warm up after sunrise. That's because some of the sun's energy goes into evaporating that moisture from the ground. But if the desert is very dry, all of that sun's energy goes into baking the ground, which in turn heats the air. This is called a positive feedback. Basically, drought makes heat worse, and heat makes drought worse.
Climate change. It's happening. Predicting its effect on our monsoon, though, now that's a challenge, even for the best climate scientists out there. Will we see wetter summers, more violent storms, or how about no change at all due to climate change? We asked the experts at the University of Arizona.
If you had to put me on the spot, I think I could summarize what many scientists believe. The monsoon probably will intensify.
Sound a little iffy? That's because the monsoon is one of the most complex patterns in North America.
The southern parts of Arizona and New Mexico really lie on the northern fringes of the monsoon region. The core monsoon region is in right over the Sierra Madre Occidental in northern Mexico.
Since we're right on the edge of the monsoon, we're affected by many factors. Take, for instance, relatively weak storms moving into the Pacific Northwest. Those can knock us completely out of the monsoon flow. Add to that the fact that computer models, those millions of lines of mathematical equations all inside a supercomputer, well, they take towering mountains like the Catalinas and turn them into hills. They have to. To make them more realistic would require even more computer power, even more math.
So your sky islands, which are in reality, Mount Lemmon is on the order of close to 10,000 feet, that probably gets lowered down to 4,000 to 5,000 feet.
So if computer models can't handle it, where do we turn? We turn to a basic understanding of the atmosphere. Remember from 7th grade science that warmer air can hold more water. Since it can hold more water and we're going to warm up, that seems like it'd increase monsoon precipitation. Now look at this. The difference in temperature between the hot desert areas and the cool Pacific Ocean would grow even larger. That would in turn make the monsoon flow even stronger. Again, that would likely increase our monsoon rainfall.
So this sort of just illustrates the fact that the global climate models aren't really there yet.
But our experts warn that there are too many factors woven together to create a complicated pattern that for now only Mother Nature understands.
The short answer is we don't really know, and that's probably not all that satisfying.
When the monsoon begins, don't be left in the dark. When the power goes out, your cell phone might be your only link to the outside world. Get late-breaking weather alerts right to your phone using our First Alert weather app. It also has live interactive radar and the latest forecast to take with you when you're on the move. The app is available for both Apple and Android.
A dry twig, a silent spark, a forest in flames. The truth behind our Arizona wildfires.
Plus, nearly an entire civilization wiped out. But why? We investigate when your First Alert Special report returns.
Missing monsoon. Are summer storms slipping away?
Each year, monsoon thunderstorms bring cooler temperatures and much-needed rain to the dried-out forests of southern Arizona. With fire season already in full swing, the trees need all the help they can get to keep from fueling the flames. They're already up against practically impossible odds.
We've seen fire behavior that has never been observed on this scale. These rolling vortices of huge releases of amounts of energy on the scale of nuclear weapons.
The scary truth, as climate continues to change and these fires grow in size, we could lose up to half of our forests. Over the past year, Arizona has seen some of the largest blazes in state history. Over 800,000 charred acres lost. That's larger than Tucson, Phoenix, and Sierra Vista combined.
Hundreds of years ago, mega droughts lasting decades led to the disappearance of many Native Americans here in the Southwest, but some managed to survive, farming the desert with only rain that fell from the sky. This Tohono O'odham planting song will soon be heard in these farm fields, looking a little sparse right now.
Auction is a flood-based farm method, relying only on rainwater. And our season starts when the monsoon starts.
Farm manager Nolan Johnson recreated this farm near Sells on the Tohono O'odham Nation.
Yeah, you wouldn't know it now, but this place is in a flood zone, and there are times when you can't even pull off the pavement to get to over here because it's flooded.
Located at the mouth of a wash, water spreads out over the desert, soaking the ground, feeding the crops, a type of farming that was almost lost.
Trial and error. I mean, getting information from books and asking questions from my elders.
What you see today is water with runoff from winter rains gathered in ponds, now nearly empty.
This is a traditional corn. It's a white corn.
When monsoon rains hit that mountain off in the distance, the floodwaters come roaring into the desert. Some of the water will fill up this pond right here. That holds over the farm during dry times. Now this pond was dug by a bulldozer, but before modern machines, it was actually dug by hand. With a mix of modern technology and ancient traditions, this farm is now surviving the droughts of today.
As our culture, we're a farming community. We're a farming tribe.
Our First Alert network of live webcams and weather stations is far-reaching. With 31 here locally and hundreds nationwide, we've got you covered. From the Diamond Children's Center in Tucson to the Grand Canyon Skywalk, with the click of a mouse, you can be transported to Texas, Georgia, New York, and even Florida. You can even go to the U.S. Naval Academy in Annapolis, Maryland. All you have to do to access this virtual world is go to the Live Cams tab on your weather page at TucsonNewsNow.com.
Here in the biosphere, they study how drought will affect the desert.
That's right, but in reality, it can look more like a scene out of a disaster movie. Cars, trucks, tractor trailers smashed together on the interstate. The culprit? Dust.
And the haboob hit hard, and it won't be the last. Why Tucson is a haboob haven. Next.
Missing monsoon. Are summer storms slipping away?
They were epic. Monsoon 2011 brought no less than 3 huge haboobs to the capital city, and they all started right here in southern Arizona. Take a look at this massive one that pummeled Phoenix on July 5th, snarling traffic, shutting down airports, and sending people running for cover. The cleanup from the dusty delivery took weeks. It's all a part of our unstoppable drought. We've been below normal for rainfall for more than a decade, and the forecast for this year is more of the same. Dry, dry, dry. Even with our monsoon storms, the winter rainy seasons have been lackluster. To learn about Arizona haboobs, let's look at the one on July 5th. It was early in the monsoon. Much of southeast and central Arizona hadn't seen significant rain in 6 months. The air at the surface was very dry, but monsoon moisture had crept into the middle and upper layer of the atmosphere. Add to that the heat of the day, and voila, a monsoon thunderstorm developed. However, it rained into the dry air at the surface, which created a massive microburst on the northwest side of Tucson. The air rushed down to the desert floor, and then it spread out in all directions. Since Phoenix is lower than Tucson in elevation by more than 1,000 feet, gravity got in on the action, accelerating the wind downhill. The farms in Pinal County were freshly plowed. What wasn't farm fields was so dry that there was nothing to hold down the desert soil. Racing toward Phoenix, the wind from Tucson's storm picked up anything it could on its way. Phoenix, engulfed in a drought-induced cloud of dust a mile high and as dense as the darkest night. Tucson storms plus the ongoing drought, more haboobs are on the way.
Deadly dust, treacherous rain, lightning, thunder, even flash floods. The monsoon waits in the wings.
For the past half hour, we've shown you the pure power of the storms and the fear that follows a missing monsoon.
Although the summer storms seem to be slipping away, have no doubts the monsoon storms can still pack quite a punch. And when they do, turn to us, your award-winning team of First Alert meteorologists. We're here 24/7 to keep you aware and make sure you're prepared. It's all about protecting your families. Our state-of-the-art resources span southern Arizona, so keep it locked right here during Monsoon 2012. We'll bring you all the live local late-breaking weather coverage. Thanks for watching. I'll see you during the monsoon.